What's going on, guys? I've driven this car 1,500 miles. This is my 2020 Civic Si, and I'm going to give you guys kind of an update on things I like and don't like so far, and also how I almost kind of died the other day because of Honda sensing. Okay, so before I get into the things I like, I just want to say that this car has been a really good daily driver. I wasn't sure about it at first, just because it has so much technology and it's so much different from my 9th gen that I had before this, but I do like it. So the first thing I like about this is, which is different from my 9th gen Civic Si, is the low end torque that you get with the 1.5 turbo engine. What I mean by that is the car is much more driver friendly because you don't have to rev it out to like 5,500 RPM for the VTEC engagement. And I think it was even higher in the 8th gen Civic Si with the K20. So I'll demonstrate right now how early on in the power band the torque comes. So that's only, I mean, I was shifting at like 4,000 RPM and it was moving perfectly fine. Definitely enough get up and go without having to rev it to redline. So the next thing that I really like is the gas mileage. This car is rated at 26 city, 36 highway. And I know the people that own the 17 through 19 SIs are curious about the difference in gas mileage because those cars get phenomenal MPG. But this one, I'll show you right here. Having gone 1,532 miles, my average fuel economy is 35.7. And mind you, a big part of that is letting the car properly warm up. So I'll let the car sit for like a minute or two in the morning when it's, 38, 40 degrees and let the car warm up. So that's obviously taking down my gas mileage, but 35, almost 36 miles per gallon is really good. So the fourth thing I like is Honda sensing. There's actually only one feature that I actually use and that I actually like. It's lane keep assist. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to tell you guys how the collision mitigation braking system scared the shit out of me this morning and why I am going to turn it off from now on. So the one thing that I do use is lane keep assist, and it works very well when I'm on the highway, obviously going above 45 miles an hour, which is the engagement point. But yeah, it works pretty well, and it's just a really nice thing to have, like when I'm when I'm driving to work in the morning and I'm drinking my coffee and stuff like that. So number 5 is the aftermarket. For those of you who have a 10th gen Civic Si, you know that the aftermarket, there are tons of parts, and there are lots of good resources for finding out which parts work the best and which parts don't work all that well. I'm a part of like 5 different Facebook groups, and the ones I primarily use are 10th Gen Civic Si Owners Club, 10th Gen Alliance, which it's called X Gen Alliance on Facebook, but and then there's a page called 10th Gen Civics. So that's that's the one that has all the different trim levels, which is pretty cool. There are pretty good websites that have the parts that you're looking for. I prefer to search for parts on maperformance.com. I think they have a pretty easygoing layout and it's easy to navigate, so I will probably be buying parts from them. I would like to buy a cold air intake this week, Christmas week. So those are the things that I liked. Now I'm going to get into things that I don't like all that much. And the first thing that I don't like is collision mitigation braking system. It scared the shit out of me this morning when I was driving to work. I was going about 45 miles an hour and there was this car that was in front of me and it was turning left. And I applied the brakes, so obviously I didn't hit them. And then once they were completely out of the lane, they were turning. The collision mitigation braking system broke the car for me. Like, it slammed on the fucking brakes. And I had already started accelerating because the car was completely out of my way. And I had like coffee and a little bit of it spilled, and I was just kind of like shaking a little bit because I was like, what the fuck just happened? So I turned that feature off because I was not impressed with that at all. So if you're looking at a 2020 or if you have one right now, be really careful with that because Honda sensing has kind of a mind of its own, and it'll try to fuck with you like that. So just beware. The second thing I don't really like about this car is how sport mode plays sound through the speakers. It plays like extra engine noise through the speakers. So I'm going to turn sport mode on right now. You can see how all the accents turn red on the screen, which is cool. But then I'll let you guys listen to the engine and you'll be able to tell the difference in sound.
Green go!
Green go, bitch! So here, I'll give us some gas so you guys can hear what sport mode sounds like. I could turn it off in the settings, because there are some pretty detailed setting options that you can choose from in this car, but it won't let you do it. So I'm gonna figure out a way that I can turn those off. You probably have to use Honda or K-Tuner or something. I'll take care of that in a future video. The next thing I don't like, and most stock cars at this performance level are gonna have this problem, but it's the rev hang. The rev hang in this car is atrocious. So here I am in first gear, going in a second. Look how slowly they fall. I think second and a third is the worst one. That's terrible. So it falls like a whole 1,000 RPM, and it takes forever to fall. And I don't want to shift that slowly. Like I'm used to kind of like pounding through the gears. I kind of feel like my 9th gen wasn't even that bad. But obviously I'm gonna get that fixed with K-Tuner when I get that. So it's not permanent. So the last thing that I'm gonna complain about is the engine. In particular, rolling in traffic in like first and second gear. I'm gonna explain this the best way I can. There's a lot of traffic here. So a lot of the times I'm on the highway and we stop and we get down to like 3 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour, whatever it is. In first gear in this car, you can roll at 3 miles an hour. That's as fast as that's as slow as it'll let you go before you start to hear like the lugging of the engine. In second gear, on a flat surface, ideally, you can roll at like 6 miles per hour. That's the slowest it'll let you go in second gear. And the problem is that without being in the turbo, this engine has no power, and if you are at the slightest incline in first gear, like 3 miles an hour, the engine doesn't have enough natural torque. It'll start to dip into like 2 miles an hour, and then the car will start, shaking. You'll start to feel shaking from the engine and transmission. My 9th gen Civic, it was a 2.4 liter naturally aspirated engine. It had enough torque as it was, so I could cruise around in 4 miles an hour in first gear, no problem. So I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. I am going to be trying to buy a cold air intake this week. I'm not entirely sure which one I want to get yet, but I'll make a separate video on that tomorrow, and I'll try to choose an intake. But anyways, if you have a 2020 Civic Si and there are some things in this video that you wish I would have noted, comment down below, and then I can gather all of that feedback and put it into a future video. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Now, can I stop recording?
Yes. Number one, I like the, fuck!
Stop! You're at a church parking lot.
Is that church?
Yes!
Hey, are you up?
Why isn't anyone opening my door?
Okay, so, the first thing that I like about this is the first thing I like about this